See, this is activism with a difference.
Okay, he's with SexySaxmanSaxograms.com and Tina, our friend Tina over there. They're authorized, yeah. The saxogram. Don't play it again. Play it again? Okay, we're leaving. Hey, play that George Michael song real quick. This is saxophone superstar Sergio Flores. I mean, if you ever see him, well, he's got like millions of dollars. Like, that one? It doesn't matter. You're not above the law. He's above the law, though. No, he's above the law. You're not above the law, and he's not above the law. He is above the law, though. He doesn't. Well, look at him. He's playing to a baby right now. He's playing to a baby. Right now, he's just playing to a baby. Can you just play to the baby?
Can you play like 5 more times?
Have you heard this one? Play that one. Play that one. Then put up. Here's the deal. This is private property. What? You can stay on the property, or you're gonna get arrested for trespassing. No, we're leaving. But now that you have the flip camera, you can put that on YouTube, and now you have more footage of Sergio. He's a superstar, and you can get that like a million views right now. All right. We'll leave.
Brazilian.
Huh?
Says your float.
Sounds like it's Brazilian. But what I think is great about that video, it's very obvious, like it's hilarious, but it just goes to show you how domesticated everyone is when something slightly out of the ordinary happens. How everyone instantly assumes that the right thing to do is to stop it. And no one can stop Sexy Sax Man, because he's a superstar. So, thank you for listening to me.
You want to answer a couple of questions?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
You don't
Got a whole segment. Q&A, you know how it works. If anyone's got any questions about anything I do or what I talked about, or... Hi.
Okay, hi. Why is it that you go around saying everything is okay, everything is fine? Why do you know?
Did you not listen to Sexy Saxogram's message?
Yeah, but why is it that you don't go around saying everything is wrong? There's a word you're not going, and giving all the arguments like it's more traditional
I think
way.
the main reason is that by saying the opposite of what you mean, it creates an extra layer of consciousness, which turns it into more of a game for the people listening. Because they might go, what the hell, is he really saying the banks are great, that we're not amazing, that we should just carry on shopping? Like, is he? And then they go, oh, I get it, he's being ironic. So, and also I think the difference between preaching and megaphoning and doing this crazy stuff is that you have to kind of make it funny. There's an English playwright called Oscar Wilde, and he said that if you're going to tell the truth, you have to make it funny, or they'll kill you. And I think people need to swallow the pill of truth with a bit of humour. Hiya.
Do you really think literally that 11th of September this year is the end of fear? The day itself?
No, I was very ambitious calling it the end of fear, wasn't I? Yeah. I'm actually hoping, and in fact I'm glad you raised that, the 26th of March, which is in a week. Wow. Hopefully that will be the kind of end of fear brought forward. After the events in Cairo and Tunisia, we can see how, when enough people say, like Jacques said, this shit's gotta change, then they just stand there and do nothing, and that's the great paradox. Like, it's called activism, but in order to win, you have to not be active. You just have to stop complying and just go back in and doing stuff. And what I think the 26th of March will be is potentially the greatest ever, in terms of numbers, greatest ever protest that Britain has ever seen. It could be 1 million, it could be 500,000, it could be 200,000, but everyone from different factions will be joined there, and they're all there because they know something is very wrong. And this is funny you mentioned September the 11th as well. Hey, all hail Morningstar one more time. That even though September the 11th was an absolute tragedy and it was horrific for the 3,000 people involved and the 1 million Iraqis who are now dead because of the kind of misdirected aggression against the Muslim world. Ooh. We've paid an incredible sacrifice in human life for what I have to say, from my own subjective viewpoint of this, is the greatest spectacular event in terms of spiritual and political awakening for people. September the 11th stirred the pot of shit up considerably, and everyone's thinking about it. I mean, look, before September the 11th, the most insane thing we had to worry about was whether Bill Clinton had had a blowjob. I mean, that was the level of our worry. And then September the 11th happens, and it changes everything. And because the government, which I believe all state is inherently evil and only exists through coercion, because they've reacted in such a terrible way to September the 11th, it's woken up hundreds of millions of people around the world politically to see that perhaps statism is not the solution, perhaps we can actually be free, perhaps there is a way to ignore authority and have our own things. And I was chatting to my friend Nick outside, and he said that kind of consciousness sometimes is like water, or people's actions is a bit like water. They will go and flow whichever is the easiest way. So if we're going to offer an alternative, and this goes for the Venus Project Zeitgeist movement, it needs to be as easy for people as it is turning up at their everyday jobs, going to the same schools, taking the same swine flu injections. What we need to offer needs to be as easy as any of that. So it needs to be fun, it needs to be sexy, it needs to be youth-driven, because everyone loves a bit of youth. And then we might succeed. So to kind of come back to your original question, do I think September the 11th will be the end of fear? No, but I like the title, so I'm sticking with it.
My apologies to everyone that probably already knows the answer to this question, but can you tell me what the Love Police is?
The Love Police, I'm glad you asked. The Love Police is it's an absurdo-anarchist film group which goes out to shine a light up the arsehole of evil, and by in doing so, put it on YouTube, so whenever anything is weird, like police trying to stop people doing normal things, and that's what Sexy Sax Man's all about, is filming the absurdity of people in uniform trying to stop a guy playing the saxophone. So the Love Police is a group of people who just want to lower fear and raise love. And it's called the Love Police because it's a joke on the police. I mean, they would never be about it. And one of the things we do is we hug as many police as we can, because once you've hugged the policeman, and I think you'd be very successful at this, once you've hugged the policeman, he's a lot less likely to then arrest you or truncheon you or hit you over the head. And I scientifically proven this. People who I haven't hugged arrest me. The ones that I do hug don't. So, thank you.
Where can we get more information on what exactly is going to happen on the 26th of March?
I'll put it on the website, my website soon, and I'll make a quick YouTube video with all the exact details. But whilst I'm on stage, 1 p.m. Trafalgar Square on the 26th. That's when we're going to meet. Yeah. Okay, and bring Molotov cocktails, chains, guns, and we're going to fireball McDonald's and all sorts of other good fun stuff for the whole family. I'm only joking, internet audience. I know. Stay with me.
1 p.m.
Sorry?
That's 1 p.m. you just said.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I mean, I'm all up for direct action and protesting and things. I might even attend down in London. But I think setting up an alternative community, an alternative societal structure, like an eco-village, like a network of eco-villages that can feed themselves, that can feed the local population, that can produce energy, that can live free of the system and not contributed to anything. They're more worried about that than a million people marching to the streets of London. So they've got the weapons, they've got the army. They deploy them if they have to.
They got the neutron bombs.
They got the neutron bombs. But I always wonder this thing myself, and I'm thinking, if I'm this unhappy with this current system, why don't I just move out to the jungle in Brazil and set up an alternative community?
Why not in England?
Why not in England? Exactly. Why don't we do it together right now? You and I. Let's go. But I think the reason for some people is I think we view humanity as one, and it's perhaps not the right thing to do for us to just go in, because we could easily do that, but the message would be lost completely. We'd be isolated in the jungle and nothing would happen. I think some of us are crazy, and I am certainly crazy. I want to be here in the fight and the battle in the cities and wind everyone up and get everything changing for everyone all at the same time.
You said about just on all the signs. Just on all the signs, because you go, yeah, I've been there, I protested, but the police officer have the guns and all the other military stuff against us.
Yeah.
What we can do more instead of just holding signs. I know you're going to be there with your megaphone. What about the others? What the others can really do?
You literally just have to go to a city centre and not leave. That's it. That's how it works.
Not live like what?
Like in Cairo or Tunisia.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can't leave anyway because you're kettled. Yeah.
I think you've got to remember as well with like the police and all that. You forget a lot of these people are your brothers and sisters, family as well. So like not all of them will take their guns on you. You know, so it's not so much us.
In Egypt, the military like refused from shooting against their own.
And that's the thing. That's why we need to be very clever about it. Like you can't mount an armed assault against the Western countries' armies. I mean, they've got the SAS, they've got nuclear weapons, they've got, drones that can fire missiles into children's parties in Afghanistan. They've got that kind of stuff. But that's why we need to be very clever and realize that our battle now isn't in the kind of physical video game. Our battle is in actually the kind of consciousness creation world, which then manifests in the physical world. So yeah, if you want to stop a river flowing, you can cut off the source, or you can just cut off one of the rivers at some point. It's not going to do the same. You cut off the source. So I honestly don't know the right way to do that, but one thing I do believe in, you know how the Illuminati, the bad guys, they say order out of chaos. I think there is something to be said for that. If the universe is the kind of fractal spinning web of ideas and physical matter and so forth, and to get any kind of change, you need to kind of create a bit of chaos in the first place, so then it can kind of settle in different ways. And we see this right now in Japan right now. I think that just shows us the fragility of our technologically advanced civilization, how one earthquake can plunge that world into the worst crisis since World War II. That is chaotic, but I think the Japanese will emerge better from it. And they might learn not to build nuclear power plants on fault lines, maybe. And you know what I think is great about the Fukushima nuclear power plant is that they designed it to to be able to deal with an earthquake up to 7.2 on the Richter scale. Because no one in that meeting thought, oh, what happens if there's a 7.3? No, they never thought about it, and that's just craziness. So, what I'm saying is great catastrophe is also, you know, in the kind of phoenix rising from the ashes. I think in a lot of Hindu traditions, something needs to be destroyed for something else to be created, and this is what I spoke to Jack Fresco about. And what I am, I guess, is an agent of chaos to try and wake up enough people that they self-implode this ship. I'm not going to do it by starting an Al-Qaeda cell with AK-47s and attacking government buildings. It doesn't work like that. That makes it stronger, that makes them stronger. But what you can do is have enough people that realize that it's all full of shit, and then it just eventually collapses, like the Roman Empire. Like this current private banking mafia empire we have now, it will collapse because corruption and evil always self-destructs. Any other questions?
Where can we find out more information about the companies that we use every day and the bad things that they're doing?
There's a website called nomore.org. It's actually by a rapper called Sage Francis. He's made it his effort to list the bad companies, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, no more. But
It's all companies.
yeah, I think I'm a bit of an extremist. I think the entire civilization structure at the moment needs to be overhauled. I don't think we can put bandages on this pus-filled society we have now. It just needs to be cut out.
Where is this profit?
You've got to remember that everybody operates to some sort of moral compass, so it's up to everybody to try and understand the way the world works as much as possible. And if you do have something you think is a solution, just to make it as appealing to everybody on every level as possible. You know, I support the Zeitgeist movement, not because I care about the words of the Zeitgeist movement. I want it to be over as quick as possible. I care about what it represents. But it's my belief that there's a way of pitching it to anybody on Earth that should have a benefit for them above what they currently live in, including all the oligarchs and the people at the top. It might take a lot of conversation, but still, their life would be hugely enhanced if everybody else in the world was contributing to society at the same time, creating a higher standard of living for them than they currently have. It would be magnificently higher.
One way I currently deal with the fact that all governments are liars and murderers is that I like to think that I live in this world, but I'm not of this world, and one way I can do that, and I hope you all do the same, and you have to have the courage to do this, and I can vouch I'm still alive, having a great time, is you need to stop paying your tax in any shape or form. And yeah, and if you guys have a job, where they take the tax out before they give you the paycheck, which I used to do as well, you need to change jobs. Because I mean, if anyone in this room thinks that paying tax to the current system is a good thing, please raise your hands. You guys are an easy audience. Very good. So, have courage. Don't pay tax. Because when I turn on the news, and today, and just a few hours ago, French fighter jets have attacked people on the ground in Libya. It's France, America, and Britain are the three main NATO forces doing that. And I look at that, and I see my brothers and sisters killing each other in this divide and conquer, which some people talked about earlier. But at least I know, you know, we can't escape things like VAT. Every time I buy some chocolate, I pay government tax. But at least I know that from my labor, from my work I do, I'm not contributing to that killing in Libya. So I can almost step back as an interstellar anthropologist and say, wow, look at the wacky humans. Look what they're doing to each other. But I'm not, you know, contributing to it. And that's another big paradox, a great juxtaposition of the work I do. In a way, it's none of my business if those French guys grew up in middle-class families, wanted to be a fighter pilot, wanted to then, you know, follow the mainstream and attack other people who are in Libya. That's their choice. But what I think we can all agree on is that there are things, structures in society we need to change so that people can make an informed choice, because I did not make an informed choice at the age of 21 when I joined the military, because I really thought September the 11th was exactly how the newspapers presented it to me. I was like, oh, Al-Qaeda, radical Islam, and I joined the army. So, we live, we learn. And I was ready to go and fight for Queen and country, to go kill some radical Muslims, and as so many people are able to do that. And that raises another very interesting point. no one forces anyone in the UK or in America or in France to join the army. No one forces them to do this. And if we live in a world of free will, should we also allow the free will to have predatory consciousness tactics against others in terms of propaganda, in terms of marketing, in terms of psychology? And the answer is we do. As a civilization, we allow predatory structures that exist to convince people to do incredibly crazy things like join the army and kill other people. So I guess it's a question for us all to ponder, because I don't know the answer, is how much right do we have to tell other human beings to not try and spread their version of the truth? And when you go to an armed forces careers office, they will, and I've succumbed to this, I believed it because I joined the armed forces, learned to fire guns, is do they have a right to present a version of the world? And they might be able to get as many people as they want to believe in it and join the army. And do religions have a right? Because no one is, again, I mean, it's more complicated because of families, you're a child, you go to church, but if someone comes to the church at the age of 25, and I think all religions are crazy brainwashing things which will prevent you from knowing the truth ultimately, because religions will tell you the whole truth, but not enough to step outside your little box of religion. They're not going to tell you that because then you'll leave. But what right do we have as people to stop other groups of people using mere ideas to spread their hateful version of reality? And this is very complicated because, yeah, like there's probably a small group of people. You don't have to be a conspiracy crazy person to think that there is perhaps a few thousand hyper-rich, hyper-powerful people who have their kind of networks and they kind of control things, you know, money supply and so forth. You don't have to be a crazy conspiracy theorist. How guilty are they of the killing in Iraq or in Africa or the starvation? They're not going around in Africa and personally making all these children starve. They're just doing what's best for them on a genetic level for their children, which is remaining at the very top of the hierarchy pyramid. They're just doing that. And the problem is this is what I'm going to get. Sorry for ranting on for so long. The problem is purely self-awareness and consciousness. Because when you, and this is one thing I said from the very start of the Love Police. Remember, it's that thing we hug police, and yeah, you get it. Okay. One thing I've always said from the very start of the LPA, Love Police Academy, is the only way you can actually change the world is by empowering individuals themselves to wake up themselves, because then they will automatically choose to not join the army, to pollute the world, to buy a Britney Spears album when it's much freer on BitTorrent online.
How do you know?
Yeah, how would I know? I work for the Pirate Bay. No, I don't really. So, yeah, any more questions? Cool. Oh, there's one there.
Do you believe in falsifying the census? You put, your own census form.
Yeah, I'm assuming you haven't filled it in?
I have a video, it's about March the 26th, and it starts with boycott the census. And it's got a guy in a kind of Ronald McDonald outfit trying to get the children to fill in the Lockheed Martin census. If you go to the government website, in terms of the census, it goes from Emperor Nero through to the Chinese dynasties. Governments and states have always known that they need to record their greatest asset, their people. And that's scary to me. And like, am I just a government asset? And another thing about the census is as well is because I don't believe in the current slave ship, why would I want to give the current establishment any more information for them to carry on doing it wrong? And that's what it boils down to. So what I recommend is for everyone with the census forms, it comes in a big free post envelope. Perhaps put a brick inside it as well. That'll cost them £10 in postage to the census. Whatever you want to post them inside the envelope, but it's up to you to fill in the census. All I can do with you is share my consciousness and say it's potentially not the best thing you can do if you're looking for a change in society, is to give them more information.
Yeah.
You're obviously doing that through the Lawful Rebellion or the People's United Community movements. How active is that particular section compared to some of the other activism you're doing?
My involvement with the Lawful Rebellion is through a guy called Dave, who designed the latest Love Police logo, which, if you look up the Israeli police force, we've taken their logo and put a heart on it. Oh, Israeli police force. But Lawful Rebellion, they do all sorts of crazy stuff, but I wrote 200 words and said why I'm not going to fill in the census and so forth. But if you want information on the census and Lawful Rebellion, just type it into Google. no, I support them, and you know, I think what they're doing is chaotic, and I support chaos. So, fair play to them. Anyone else? Well,
thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.